All right, good evening. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, Tuesday, August 27th, 2019. The time is now 6:19. I call the meeting to order. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Minutes in 7. July 7th.
All right.
August.
What's that?
What month is that?
This is my agenda for August.
We have to read the dates. We didn't meet in July.
Okay. All right. At this time, we having a quorum, we're going to review the minutes for the June 30th, 2019 meeting. Do we have any discussion from the board? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion from the board for the June 30th minutes?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pass a motion that we approve the minutes of the previous board meeting on June 30th.
All right, we have a motion made. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Barrett. All in favor? Aye. That motion carries. Minutes for the June 30th are accepted into the record. And then the next minutes are,
That's it.
that's it? We don't have a July?
That was July. We didn't meet in July, sir.
Oh, okay.
We didn't meet.
The June, well, then I'm looking at the same thing. I thought we were two sets. Okay. All right. So, Lieutenant Oob's not with us this evening. So our next agenda item this evening is financial report, review of low rent and HCVP expense reports for June and July 2019. Mr. Ricotta.
Okay, let's look at the Housing Choice Voucher Program, Section 8. In the board packet, one of the things that we talked about at the retreat was basically looking at this VMS statement. It kind of looks like this, okay? And it really gives you a breakdown in the snapshot
Where is that located?
that's in the board packet.
It's in the VMS section.
Is it with the financials or is it in the,
I attached a separate, I didn't include, I attached it with the board packet information, a separate spreadsheet that was emailed. I wonder if that was included.
For the, in this month, August?
Yeah, no, for,
July?
Yeah,
For what month?
for July.
The VMS report.
It's a summary of the VMS report by month. Okay.
I mean, I have our VMS here.
Okay.
Can you
What-
go over the report?
Yes, let me go over the report that that I have here, and it's basically a snapshot of the Section 8 program. And it distinguishes between the restricted net position and the unrestricted net position, okay, and how it all relates, ties into cash. But the first part talks about the lease-up information, and I'm just going to go through, and this is basically the same thing as the VMS report, too. July, we had available 373, and we leased up as of the first of the month, 276, so that leaves 97 not leased, which was a lease-up percentage of 73.99, almost 74%. Okay. The restricted net position, which is the money that is restricted for HAP purposes only, as of the beginning of July or the end of June, was $89,918. We received $171,847 from HUD for HAP purposes, and we spent $176,567. So that means that we dipped into our restricted net position of about $4,700, bringing it down to $85,198. That's how much money we actually have in reserve for restricted net position for July. Unrestricted net position, which is admin fees, okay, that's how much we have, that's what we are using to run the program. Okay, at the beginning of July, we had a deficit of $157,741. We received from HUD admin fees of $21,276, which is a little bit higher than what we get. Normally, we get $15,464 a month, based on their allocation. What we received, they did a year-end reconciliation of how much admin fees we earned for 2018. So because we leased up more than what they anticipated, we received another $5,800. So that just helps reduce our deficit, increases our income. We had interest income of just $4. Poured in admin fees, we received $377, and HAP portability received was $9,186. Total administrative expenses was $11,358, and the HAP portability paid was the same as what was received, $91.86. So that means we had an increase in we had income, if you want to call it, $10,299, which reduces our deficit to $147,422. At the beginning of the year, we had a deficit of a negative $181,645, but with the adjustments that we made in June, reallocating basically salaries and some expenses that went back to the low rent program, we brought down our deficit to $147,442. Total cash on hand, or cash in the bank, reconciled cash, was $97,397. That kind of. This report, it was attached, it was a separate Excel spreadsheet that I didn't include in the PDF. It was just a separate spreadsheet, so next time I'll make sure I include it with the PDF of Housing Choice. But I can email this to y'all.
Yeah.
To the various email addresses.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, can I take a look at that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any questions or comments from the board? All right, Ms. Hollis.
It's my turn. Brandy is out sick, so I am going to give I'm going to do her portion of the executive report. The executive report, which has, since my inception, been done by me, is now shared with the department heads of the organization, which is Brandy Hayes and also Charles Taylor. I lost my train of thought. Our low rent program, we are currently at a number of, I'm looking at this, we have 82 units that are occupied, but I know for a fact, as of today, we have had 5 evictions, which is now going to take our total to 87. One person came in and paid. One of them came in and paid. And we give the last possible option to pay. The last thing we want to see is an eviction occur. And we go through this report every month. We have the units that are vacant in mod. Last month, I requested an additional couple of units in mod, which prompt a conference call from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And in that conference call, there were things that were brought to my attention, which was enlightening to me, and I immediately shared it with the board. One of them is our NEMAR, which is a score. Everything that we do, we are plugged into a portal, and it's monitored by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It is how they get a snapshot as to whether we are performing or not performing. And occupancy has been an issue. One of the previous correction action plans that this agency was under was to lease up. And since I have been there, there has not been any lease up, which means that it has had an impact on our NEMAR score because of the loss of income for those units. Another thing that has occurred since I've been there is that we have eliminated what's called flat rent. Not really sure the concept of why everybody was participating in a flat rent process, but in the first workshop that I went to with Mr. J, we were in a workshop, and I raised my hand and said something about flat rent, and people looked at me like I was from Mars. So at that point, I understood that we weren't supposed to be doing flat rates. So we have modified that, and we're now doing rates based on a person's income and what they should be
Ms.
contributing.
Hollis,
Yes.
I'd also like to interject now. You mentioned that we're not leasing up.
Well, I was going to address it.
Okay, I just want to make sure that,
I-
for those that don't know, understand why we're not
Well,
leasing
well,
up.
well, I'm gonna get to it.
Okay,
Okay, but the flat rate and converting from flat rate to what people were supposed to pay, we only lost for $5,000 in income based on the number in the population. We were not leasing up because of the condition of our units and the cost to renovate them. The cost to renovate them would have come from our capital fund, which was limited as it relates to the type of work that needed to be done based on the condition of the units that we had. So in the conference call with HUD, they conceded that if we were dealing with a health or safety issue, it would be okay. And they have converted everything that we have vacant to mod. They've also given us an option to do what's called alternative housing, meaning that the units that we have people staying in the developments where we're going to do reposition, we can start giving them an option to move into a unit that's in boutique. We have not been leasing up, but we have been turning units over. And the units that we've been turning over, we've been moving families from severely substandard units to units that were in better condition. So that's why we were not doing the lease up. And it did affect our NEMAR, which I shared with the board that from this point on, when a report is done and we give our financials and we give our monthly rent report, that we would have Russell do the spreadsheet that he just talked about, which is letting you guys see what I'm doing, where you are now tracking the NEMAR, because you're not ever going to be involved in a day-to-day activity. But if you see the NEMAR, then you know what
Yeah, it's a MENAR.
MENAR.
Yes, ma'am.
If you see the MENAR, then you can kind of track what's happening on a day-to-day basis.
And Ms. Hollis, excuse me, I did pass that out for July, that they have the MENARs.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And another thing that happened as a result, at our board retreat, we had Russell to come in and do an in-service for all of us, including me, to understand how the MENAR is impacted. In addition to that, in that conference call, it was shared with me by the Department of Housing and Urban Development that we needed to monitor our UNP, which is unrestricted position.
Yes.
And the significance of that is that every month we do what's called a VMS report. And in the VMS report, we were never addressing what the unrestricted net position is. And one of the things that caused me concern was that our unrestricted net position was consistently going up, which did not make sense to me, and I'm not an accountant. I'm now on Section HCV, the HCV program. It didn't make sense to me because I knew that we were spending less money. We made major cuts in our budget. We cut contracts. We did a lot of elimination of waste. Even though we were spending more money, we were spending more of our operation money, we were spending more of our low rent money, which is supposed to be put back into programs. But we weren't spending as much of our HCV program, our HCV money, and it was going up. So we learned, I learned during that conference call, and also by an alert from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, that we had sent off red flags, and I shared that with you guys when they came in and they shut down our Section 8 program. They didn't shut it down, they froze it. They said that we could not reissue issue any new vouchers. And the reason that occurred is because we were not reporting our cash on hand, cash flow, which was a concern for me initially. I didn't understand how. I had to learn it. But we weren't reporting it. And it was not because, I don't think it was intentional. I think that what Russell was doing was trying to help us. And he was trying to help by not reporting it because we had a deficit in an area that none of us were aware of. And that deficit was that the previous administration had spent disaster money from Hurricane Ike. And I guess he was trying to repay it or find a way to repay it. But what it did is it's a cause and effect because everything that we do is monitored. And as a result of it, it made it look as if we had issues in areas that we did not have issues. We did report the income we reported the money in the bank. We were never at a negative cash flow. So when we reported the money in the bank, it reversed everything. We were taken off of restriction for allocating Section 8 vouchers, but what it did is help us understand as an agency and you guys as my boss to understand in order to truly capture what's happening in our HCV program, you need to be paying attention to the UNP.
So this is with the summary, pretty much captures all of that.
Yes.
Month by month.
Yeah,
Yes.
we went back and made revisions.
And can I say something briefly?
Sure.
The cash that was reported in VMS, and this started when the previous CD was there up until the shortfall meeting came about, I was instructed by a HUD person to report zero because of the money that was due to the disaster program. And I think they've been talking about that. I don't know what the situation is now, but since then, we have gone back and made the corrections to put the total amount of cash that we actually have in the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And in the future, before anything happens like that, again, it's going to be addressed through, Ms. Hollis didn't know. And I was just trying to do what I thought HUD wanted me to do. I was instructed by them.
Russell, I will say, I did see in the chain of emails, correspondence between Ms. Hollis and HUD and yourself, that the representative from HUD, I don't remember who it was,
Loretta
Parker.
but they did say that they were the ones that initially instructed you to
Yes.
report it.
Yes,
The
sir.
way that it was reported.
Yeah, in his defense, I want to say that it was confirmed that Loretta instructed him to do it. However, what I've shared with him is that any decision as it relates, I'm accountable for anything that happens. Any decision that's made, be it HUD, be it Congress, it doesn't matter. It has to come through me, and it has to come through the board. Because once it was discovered, it was also confirmed that she was incorrect. We would have been, not only did it cause it caused other problems, we would have had major issues because it is illegal to use any funding that is given to us by the Department of Housing Development for one reason, to pay off a debt. It just can't be done. So Russell and I are on the same page with that. Any decision that affects our operation, our funding, our agency, has to be a decision that's made by me, not from HUD. And if they tell it to him, it still comes to me, and that decision is not made until we address it. So I think we're on the same page. We are in a stronger position than we thought that we were. We can, at this point, issue vouchers again, so our HCV program is healthy. And we leased up in our HCV program faster than anyone thought that we could possibly do. One of the reasons was because we were told that landlords didn't want to participate. Well, we found out that wasn't the truth. And, just communicating with landlords, they're participating, they're eager. We have units that are available, and we don't have tenants to put in them. So we're good in that area. The other issue, maintenance, you have some stuff you want to add as it relates to maintenance, where we are at this particular time?
Yeah, I have one
Commissioner.
question, just trying to follow that conversation, and I know y'all don't have the liberty of seeing this sheet, but when you look at the total net cash, like at the October of 18, it was 121, and now it's at 75. Is that part of the payback?
No, we're not paying back anything through the resources we have. We can't pay anything back. Our agency is on a repayment plan with Department of Housing and Urban Development. We have a huge debt that was already outstanding, and what they've done is they're revising that payment plan to add the additional money that we have, and currently we pay it back by proceeds from our vending machine.
Well, when you look at the income statement, the negative 147,000, the UPN ending balance, and then you take the cash position of the 97.
That's the deficit from the previous administration spending, and we can't use the money we have to reduce that. We can only reduce that by saving money through our HVC program.
Okay. Okay.
So we're spending less administratively, so that's how it's decreasing, but we can't use anything to eliminate it.
Okay.
Very
Very
good?
informative sheet. Yep, I'm good.
Okay. Charles?
Well, back up a couple of pages here. In August 14, well, in the month of August, we sent out a request for quotes for roofs and to get the roofs done in the Booty site. We received 3 bids, a lot of phone calls. We received 3 sealed bids. We opened them up on the 16th, I want to say, Ms. Hollis?
On the 16th, yes.
16th.
No, it was due on the
Due
16th.
on the 16th, and we opened them up on the 17th. Why am I drawing a blank on their name right now? Gridiron Constructions wound up winning the bid, and they came in, signed the contract. Right now, they're in the midst of getting stuff together. We have to get the permits from the parish so they could start on the roof job. But once all that is, completed for us, obtaining the permits and stuff like that, they will be starting on the roofs also. We signed a contract with Door to Door, to install, I want to say,
176.
176 windows at the Booty site, with more to come after they do that amount of windows. Right now, as far as Hornville and the drainage situation, we haven't been having any problems since the parish adjusted they side, I guess, dropped it down 14 inches or whatever they were supposed to do. So we haven't been having any backup problems out there in Hornville as far as that. So I don't know if DBL is going to do the work in Hornville or not, but as of right now, I don't see any need for them to do the work with any, we don't have any flow problem in Hornville since the parish adjusted their drain side of the pipe, where our pipe feeds into their system.
We'll make sure we're clear on this, because we know where this conversation is coming from.
Right, yes,
I
yes.
want to understand. what
Yes,
you're-
sir, yes, sir.
Telling me that.
Mr. Woods, yeah, Mike?
I mean, yeah. I just want to make sure we're clear. So you're telling us now that the parish has adjusted something on their side of
Yes,
the
sir.
issue,
Yes, sir.
and we're not having any issues right now.
No, sir.
The problem was flowage.
Right, it is flowing
The
now.
flow, the natural flow was not occurring naturally because of the offset and where the two systems met. So the normal grease and whatever is thrown down the drain because there wasn't a natural flow of it. It just settled in one area. That's not occurring anymore. And I think what Charles is saying is that we don't see an immediate need to move forward.
Right.
Based on what's happening with repositioning.
There's,
So the
there's still a
money-
need to address the infrastructure, but with the repositioning and the fact that we currently have flow, it would probably be to the benefit of the agency to explore including whatever infrastructure improvements we do with the revitalization in the repositioning.
So the money that we were gonna give to fix the issue, since we don't have to do it, since the parish fixed their end, we can now
Yeah.
put that towards,
Here's what we
and make our
put,
units better.
here's what we put money toward, based on repositioning. Because Boutique is the area that we're doing the disposition on, Boutique is the area that we're going to renovate, then we need to deal with structural, solid issues. That would be roofs. The roofs, have to be done, and we definitely need to deal with egression, because
For
the
the
egress
windows,
windows is a safety hazard.
And we failed
So,
them.
yeah, so we spending our money on the roof, we spending our money on the windows. Anything else is interior and needs to be addressed. Because with the reposition and with that tenant protection voucher, we are obligated to provide tenant relocation services. And that has to come out of our capital fund.
Makes sense.
Did that make sense? And in capital fund, I normally do a printout, but we have gotten an additional $241,000 in capital fund. In 2017, we have a balance of 17,000. 2018, we have roughly, Russell, about 140,000. We've been really frugal with money. In our operation account, we get our operation money, our fiscal year ends next month. We still have $100 and some odd thousand. And in fact, once I was alerted based on our UMP, our restricted net position, and our MENAR, I stopped invoicing, but we had enough money in the bank for us to operate, and we still do. So I still have those invoices that I will do, but I wanted Russell and I to make the revisions that we've done. So with those revisions, I did the first one today. I will do one tomorrow. I will do one tomorrow, but cash flow, we have always been healthy. Both accounts are healthy.
Is is the parish up on our repositioning? I just mean, are they aware, are they informed? I think somewhere I read in this streamline.
Step one, we're at,
Streamline that there is a process we have to go through to inform them and actually need their input and approval to do that.
we don't get their input, but we need an approval. What we need to do, there's a process that we go through. This is step one. In step one, we have to notify the residents to see how they feel about it. In step two, once the residents are on board and we develop a plan, we need to present that plan to the parish. And the parish, we would need to get from them a letter of approval based on where we're saying we're going, but that has to be put in writing in our plan. What I did, because I've done training since the last time we were together, and the documents I received in the training, which you are reading, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I have put in every, because it's so much that's happening quickly. I need you guys, I don't know if I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. The mandate is that we reduce public housing by September of 2020. So they're serious. So it's been a lot of training I'm going through and a lot of work. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and we've been doing a lot of work, but we need, as a group, to do a lot more work. But I put in here the streamlined voluntary conversion, and the operative word is streamline. That means they made it as fast as possible. The most time-consuming thing that we will do that's involved in this whole process would be the EPAs. That's the only thing that we can't have waived, and it's not something we can influence, and that could take anywhere from 45 to 60 days. Commissioner Jay and I met with HUD. They came to the office. Some of this stuff, they just kind of was like, hey, look, they're not going to tell us what to do. But what they did is they laid out all of the options and simplified the process. So hopefully we have a commission committee, Mr. J?
What's that?
A commission committee that you will share the information, but the moment we submit the application, the time for approval is 45 to 60 days? 45 to 60 days, so we have a lot of work.
This is wrong, so we're doing a voluntary conversion, that's the route we're taking.
Which is the first step to get to the demo disposition.
Okay.
And the difference, and I think I owe you guys an update, because the last time we talked about RED. And what we learned after meeting with HUD, what we learned was that we accomplished everything that we want to do at RED with the demo disposition. But the difference is, with the demo disposition, we get to rebuild, but we get to create that nonprofit, and everything that we demo transfers to the nonprofit, and everything that we keep transfers to the nonprofit. So we maintain control, which was one of those issues that we talked about. Both programs, the only difference is that our development partner is not controlling it the way that they would have with RAD. The difference between the two is that the most significant piece of our transition will be the tax credits. And at that point, the tax credit process has its own rules and regulations that we will not be able to meet. One would be the financial capacity. I think we'll talk more about the management, property management of it. I think because we're a commission of realtors and have property management experience, we probably can meet that, but we will definitely not meet the financial threshold. So before I go forward, if y'all want to ask questions about that.
I'm just going to say that your suggestion, I heard you to our chairman, is that we meet and understand this. So I want to just second what you just said, that we do get together and understand where we're.
So in that regard, just to avoid our sunshine laws and everything with quorums and whatnot, what I suggested is that we have a two-person committee. We can call it whatever we want, transition committee or the repositioning committee, whatever. That committee can get information and answers and then bring that back to the board, and then answer any questions at our regular meetings. And then I think we'll probably, just like we're having the public hearings, a lot of information is going to come out in the public hearings as well. And then we'll probably have a couple more training retreats that we need to participate in the process. But hopefully, by doing all of those steps, we'll all be very much on board. And we've got to make sure all the commissioners' emails are working too, because there's going to be a lot of information coming out.
We have a lot of information. I still have to get you straight. I'm not sure why. I don't know why. Do you get any of my emails?
If they can, whoever the person that sets the email up, if they can just forward that email to.
I think I may have had him forward it to the wrong email. For the
might have been
longest,
your
I had
old
that,
email. We
that
had
old
the-
letter in blue.
No, I'm not, no, yeah, that's wrong.
So just
Make sure
make
I
sure
have
she
that
has
today.
the
Yeah.
current one, and then,
I gotta stay in one, I can't jump from email, you know.
Right.
If it all comes there, I get it.
Okay, so in the streamline conversion, the difference, here's another key part that's different, is that boutique becomes, it's just not called a public housing anymore, but it's project-based. So the best analogy would be an apartment complex that has a HAP contract, and all of their units have a voucher on it. That's what boutique would be. So when you get that month-to-month, unit-by-unit analysis, it will be consistent across the board.
So the units will be, the units are project-based units. I mean, the.
Project-based. A three-bedroom is $1,400 a month. Doesn't affect what the tenant is paying, because that's what HUD is paying us.
And that stays with that unit.
That stays with the unit. It does not go with the tenant.
Right.
So it's like an apartment complex. You got a two-bedroom at $700, you got a one-bedroom at $600, you got a three-bedroom at $1,200. That is consistent across the board. So that helps us with our cash flow, because one of the reasons that HUD is requiring us to reduce the public housing inventories, because they don't have enough money to give us to maintain them. And that has been consistent nationally. So it's I think it's the best thing that could have possibly happened, you know, as it relates to maintaining. And talk about the opportunity for growth. This is everything that they told us when we were in Washington. We need to start creating our companies to support ourselves, and we start growing. With the Salmon, we will not be able to rebuild the Salmon because of the floodplain and where it's located. But it is green space, it is ours. A suggestion was made that maybe we could do a land swap with the parish. Maybe we could sell it and buy another piece of land. But we can grow, and we can start acquiring property to create our own inventory. So the process, the streamlined process, in here, it is about as simple as it looks. If y'all have any questions, please call me. The other document that's included in the packet is the overview, St. Charles Parish overview, which was enlightening to me. It was created by our field officer, and basically what it did was tell us what we should and shouldn't be doing. And this was the result of everything we talked about before. And we are now doing it. The board is now, I'm not going to go through the whole document, but the fact that the board is receiving this, this overview that Russell prepared on a monthly basis, here is how you guys need to interpret it. This is the instructions, in case you weren't clear, as it relates to how the quick score or the NEMAR or the unrestricted net position is being reduced, or what we can do to be reduced. Are we doing executive session? Can we do a quick one? Yeah. And I'll share some other things with you guys, but this is instructions. This is better than any training. It was done for our protection and corrective measures. It's better than any training I've been to. It's a slap. It was a slap for me, but corrective action is always good, in my opinion. And the final for my report will be that's it. My final would have to happen in executive session.
All right, we do have an executive session on the agenda for this evening for some legal issues, personnel and legal issues by the executive director. So if we have a motion from the board to do that, that would be great.
Mr. Chair, I move that we recess our regular session and enter into executive session.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Woods, a second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Time is now 6:56. And we have a motion by Commissioner Woods. Commissioner Bailey.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. Time is now 7:40. We're back into our regular meeting. Any further discussion from the board this evening? Seeing no one in the audience, there's no public comments, so do we have any further motions?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pass a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
All right, motion by Commissioner Bailey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. Time is now 7:40. We are adjourned.
Guys, this was given to us by the